All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. It is Thursday. We got jobless claims, unemployment filings. We can take a look at Google. Google, after their earnings yesterday, is almost to $200 a share, right? We can take a look at Google. Tesla has reacted a little bit worse. Of course, Tesla is down from about 335 to close the day yesterday, right before earnings released. It is sitting at 313s now, so a decent percentage down. I did add a scroller to the bottom of the screen, so if you want to see kind of what everything's doing, you can kind of watch it at the bottom of the screen. We got like most Mag 7 stocks in there, Nasdaq, S&P. The QQQ is the Nasdaq. Yeah. We also fixed our camera a little bit. What's up, B? How you doing, man? What's up, Bray, Ryan, North, Pawn, Trey, Frank, Sam, Ed, Ava? Good morning. Yeah. So right now you can see the Nasdaq starting to come back up a little bit. In terms of like red or green day, a lot of stuff still reacting to this AI action plan. So the market closed around here, right around where we're at now, to be honest. So we're basically completely flat on the day, especially after this latest push. We were red for a little while on the NQ, but now we're slightly green. But yeah, just to talk about some of the biggest news stories today. The president did announce earlier the week that they did a $550 billion infrastructure trade pact with Japan, implementing a 15% reciprocal tariffs on autos, which is down from 25%. It sparked a rally in U.S. futures auto infrastructure stocks. A lot of people said they were holding Japanese car manufacturing stocks like Toyota, and they're up. Mitsubishi soared up, I hear Mitsubishi. It's up big. I'm just kind of looking at what kind of Mitsubishi stocks they have here. Anybody know the actual symbol? Maybe this one, but either way, Mitsubishi's been doing well. Toyota. The big question, though, with like a week left until the UK trade or to the August 1st deadline, is the European Union, right? Like that's one of the biggest ones. Talks continue with a similar flat 15% tariff agreement with the European Union, easing earlier 30 to 50% threats. But European Union is eyeing $100 billion in retaliatory tariffs that could be triggered if talks don't work. In terms of framework for reciprocals, the U.S. has shifted to a tiered dynamic, starting at 15% up to 15%, up to 50, though. Deutsche warns U.S. importers, not exporters, are absorbing most tariff costs, possibly leading to CPI spikes, is what they're worried about. Google did report strong AI cloud demand. It pushed everything higher. Tesla posted its largest revenue drop in 10 years. Tesla down pretty significantly. In pre-market, it's down what is this? 7%, 6.5%, 7%. The ECB, the European Central Bank, is expected to pause rate moves as well. We had a lot of earnings that came out, but we did have some news regarding China and the U.S. So China's premier at the China-EU Business Roundtable says both sides can focus on service trade, tech innovation, green economy, and third-party cooperation in other areas. Yeah, because we do have the European Central Bank rate decision going live at 8:15 market time. So that might be relevant. The ECB is expecting to pause rates at 2% or at 2.15%. So they're expected to pause rates. See, there's so many different Mitsubishi symbols though. But yeah, Tesla down big after earnings yesterday. Here's Mitsu. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Faye? Good morning. Yeah, I figured I'm just going to make it so we can look at more stuff. Look, at AMD's up. A lot of microchips are up after yesterday. There's a couple of reports that showed up yesterday. Number one is that the AI action plan and speech was announced yesterday. It was like yesterday evening. It featured 90 policy actions across 3 different pillars, accelerating it. Innovation, building U.S. AI infrastructure, and asserting global leadership. It includes intentions to ease environmental and permitting regulation for data centers and semiconductors to boost AI capacity, right? So it was really bullish on microchips and AI stocks. And so if you look at most AI stocks this morning, they're up pretty significantly here. NVIDIA up. Google obviously up from earnings as well, though. Every Palantir is up, you know. Apple, kind of an AI stock, up. MU up, you know. Whatever AI stock you can think of is probably up. We also have Rigetti. So quantum stocks up. We got like Rigetti. We have CoreWeave, I think, is up. And so quantum stocks have been moving a lot as well. But yeah, so the executive order was signed yesterday for the AI bill, or the AI plan. Fast track AI infrastructure, expedited federal permitting. They are expanding AI exports, which is full tech stack of hardware, software, and models, and they're going to ban ideological bias, is what they're saying. The president said he will do whatever it takes to win the race of AI, calling AI genius, and criticized copyright laws that could stifle it. NVIDIA and AMD CEOs both said they liked it. They said the plan is pivotal to U.S. competitiveness. This door is now open for expanding semi exports, including NVIDIA and AMD. Media outlets have said it was pro-growth, deregulation-heavy strategy for AI. Let me know if you guys agree with it. Yeah, there's a lot of AI stocks. Yeah. Yeah, remember we got jobless claims unemployment data going live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'll put a poll up here. Are you bullish or bearish on today's jobless claims report? Let me know in chat right there. Yeah, with earnings, I've noticed this with a lot. Like, earnings, I don't like one of the, I don't like sitting around waiting for the earnings call to happen. And most people actually tune into my channel when the earnings are released. And so I think from now on, I'm just going to pivot to streaming the release of the earnings, you know? I think that's just better. Everything fell 30 to 60% of the last 2 years, and indexes are on all-time highs. I mean, indexes are mostly following Mag 7. And so, like, an example of this is Google's pretty close to all-time highs. Apple, I think Apple's got a little ways from all-time highs. Yeah, Apple all-time highs are 260. But, like, Meta, close to all-time highs. Microsoft, at all-time highs. NVIDIA around all-time highs. You know, we have the quantum stocks moving markets. There's just a lot of stuff that's moving, honestly. It's not like I would say most of the Mag 7 are at or around all-time highs. Not all of them. Amazon's around all-time highs. Netflix is around all-time highs. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of these are close to all-time highs, right? Like, it's not just, you got to look at the Mag 7. The only ones that are not around all-time highs are like Apple, I think. You know, the rest are pretty close to all-time highs. Apple, Tesla, if you still want to consider it a Mag 7 stock, is it? But the rest, the other 5, 6 stocks are around all-time highs. And so that's really what it is. Mag 7's dragging the market up. It's tech, right? Tech moves markets, and that's what it is. Yeah, Nasdaq broke all-time highs again too. because of this, right? Like, this is what is going on. So the new all-time highs in the Nasdaq. Let me get rid of some of these levels. I don't know if we actually broke all-time highs, but we tested it. Last time we broke all-time highs looks like it was on July 21st, so 3 days ago. We tested it early this morning. I don't know if this is considered a break, though. It looks like we got up to 421. 423, 22. Let me see what the new all-time high on the Nasdaq is. New all-time high on the NQ is... Yeah, we didn't actually break it. We tested it this morning. All-time high on the NQ is 23,424.75. 23,424.75 is the all-time high on the NQ. So we still got a ways. JD.com is reportedly near decision on a bid for Sesanami. We also had IBM earnings yesterday. There's IBM. IBM stock has been really surprising in terms of strength, but it didn't really do that well during earnings. It's down to 265. So we're watching that now. Let me know if you like this new setup more. Like, we kind of switched the layout of the stream around. So we switched the layout of the stream around. Are we getting earnings today or next week? We've had a bunch of earnings that came out earlier this morning, but it's not really big. We had American Airlines, Nasdaq, Mobileye, NVIDIA AI chips worth about $1 billion. No. The NFL is said to be in a discussion to buy 10% of ESPN's stake for NFL media assets, according to CNBC. We had Valero Energy post 228 EPS versus 174. Revenue of 29.88 versus 27 expected. Dow posted outlook that was slightly lower than expected. DOW. We had a couple other earnings, but American Airlines posted 95-cent adjusted EPS versus 77 expected. Revenue of 14.4 versus 14.3, so BDPS beat revenue. Mobileye 13-cent EPS versus 10-cent expected. Revenue of 506 versus 473 million. That's basically it. But we've had some earnings, just nothing big. I would say levels to watch on Tesla's downside here are going to be $300. I think we got a lot of resistance that might be support at like 292.50s. So like 292.50 around here. 292.50s looks like a pretty big resistance level. So $300, 292.50 are levels that I see underneath Tesla. Again, I'm not an investment professional, though. I am not liable if you lose money. I might have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Understand everything on screen. Sometimes I trade and lose off stream. You might not see it. Just not an investment professional, guys. Be safe. Today we got jobless claims unemployment filings. I'm trying to think of like a cleaner bottom banner here. Let me see if I can fix this. Jobless claims today is expected at 227. Previous of 221. Let me minimize this a little bit. Put that on screen just so people can see it. Yeah, I'll put a timer up here as well. Hey, what's up, Beach Bum? QUBT. Here, hold on. We got about an hour and 3.5 minutes. Where should I put this timer up? I'd say this is probably the best place for it. All right, there's the timer. Yeah, I don't know what jobless claims are going to be. Jobless claims are kind of an unemployment filings report. Like, I really don't know what they're going to be. JD.com is trying to put in a buy. Let's see what else we got on the move today. Again, a lot of chip stocks are up big today because of all the stuff that went on. All right, guys. Yeah, honestly, I'm just excited for next week, dude. Next week, we got so much stuff going on. So much stuff. Next week is so busy, dude. It's kind of crazy how busy next week is going to be. Next week, we have like GDP data, unemployment data, payroll data, PCE, inflation data, jobless claims, the Fed meeting. I believe we have like Meta, Microsoft, Amazon earnings, and more. So it's just busy. I love your originality. Stay true and don't let stupid people influence your mindset. I usually don't, honestly. Like, I'm kind of a troll in myself, in like how I am. Like, I'm very sarcastic. I like to kind of mess with people sometimes. If somebody's like really weird or just hating in the chat, that's like one of my favorite things to do is just to kind of mess with them a little bit, maybe shame them a little bit. It's kind of like a pastime of mine. Because I mean, if you're trying to shame somebody that tells you he has no idea what he's talking about, then you're just trying to hate, you know. Which is fine. I mean, live your life, you know. We'll see if NVIDIA continues to run. I'm trying to see where NVIDIA's all-time highs are. We got maybe too many levels on NVIDIA. But NVIDIA all-time highs, if I put up like a 30-minute chart, I think it's at 174.50s. We're at 172.70, so only a couple dollars away. We could, in theory, hit that today. I'm not sure if we're going to, but... New all-time highs on the Nasdaq. We're not there yet. We're close to it, though. I with that said, I might start buying some of these dips here. We did make money yesterday. But I might start buying some of these dips. Hold on, let me put this. Okay. Because the closer we get to it, the more likely it is that we're going to test it. And so if we get a little dip here, which we are, I'm going to buy this, add maybe 2 micros into this, and maybe a little bit more. See if we get a rebound back up to test. All right, we're in 2 micros. You can see right here. We're around all-time highs, though, so I mean, I want to give it that chance to test, and I will add to this now if we get it like deeper in the green. All right, we're going to add to that. We're in 3 contracts now. We're so close to all-time highs. I want to see if we get some buys just showing up right now. All right, I'm going to take a piece of that off just to lock it in because I can. There we go. I'm going to take another piece of that off, just lock it in because I can, and we'll hold the rest. I'll cut it here because we got some resistance. We'll probably add it right back. Let's see if we can just add it right back. The reason I'm doing this because $400 resistance is right here, so I'm just kind of getting in here, trying to sell it up here. We'll see if we buy it back though. Again, as we get closer and closer to these highs, like I really want to. Again, I've talked about this before. I like attacking the range up to highs. And so once we start to move up here and start to pull back, the likelihood that we're going to bounce is high. I mean, of course, it's hindsight, but it's not going to work every time. But I think the edge is pretty easy there, you know. Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's been sideways mostly for days. It's not going to go straight up, guys. Like, if we take a look at Bitcoin here, and we put up like an hourly chart, it's not going to go straight up. Like, it moves up, it breaks all-time highs, and then what does it do? It pulls back and consolidates. And then it's either going to run again, which is a very common movement pattern, or it might dip down and consolidate more. I don't know. Or it could fall back like bigger. We don't know. But the point is, I'm not mad at consolidation for Bitcoin. And I actually think if Bitcoin starts to break this level here, you know, like Bitcoin starts to break 121s again, I'm going to get really optimistic. I might buy more. You know. Where's gold at this morning? So gold is down a little bit, but gold got right up to 34.50s. Gold moves a little slow, but all-time highs are not that far away. But gold's actually had a pretty decent pullback the last 2 days, probably from optimism regarding the AI chip news that we've gotten, right? Like the AI chip news updates, like deregulation in AI is causing a lot of AI stocks to run, is what we're seeing. So AI stocks are running because of this deregulation chip news. And we're seeing a lot of these AI stocks push. And what it's doing is it's causing gold to go back down because people were pessimistic regarding AI for a little while because of the like the China restrictions, H2O chip restrictions, all that stuff. And so now that is easing a little bit, people are growing more optimistic, and in that way gold is coming back down some. So gold will move. If something's really optimistic, it'll go down. If something's really scary, at a lot of the time it'll go up. And then sometimes outside of that, it just trends with markets, with macro markets. Yeah, I saw the E-mini hit all-time highs yesterday. Nasdaq's moving up, but slowly here. Again, all-time highs on the NQ are 420. It's like 424.75. Yeah, so the ECB today at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time is set to end their cut streak of 7. They've done 7 cuts. Trade threats with the European Union, stronger euro. All of this might make markets move. All right, guys. So I'm looking at news. American Airlines posted. Again, we had Keurig Dr. Pepper post 49 cents versus 48 cents. Net sales of 4.2 versus 4.13. So slight beat for Keurig Dr. Pepper. The president is going to the Federal Reserve at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, coming back home at 5:10 p.m. Yeah, so Nasdaq still creeping up there. It's having a hard time really going though, but it's kind of a slow move up. On a 1 minute chart, you can kind of see it. Kind of a slow move. But I do think the momentum's on the upside. We'll see what happens though. It could pull back. Looking at our poll numbers, most people are bullish on today's jobless claims report. 68% are bullish versus 33% bearish. Can y'all not hear the music? Yeah, you should be able to hear the music. Yeah, Nasdaq's trying to move up again. HIMS stock. Big rip yesterday. Big move. Look at HIMS. Got up to $57 a share. And this is after it pulled back earlier this year. Or earlier over the last, when was this? Last month. About a month ago. So it's kind of filling the gap that it gave back from that earlier pullback is what we're seeing. One of the big levels I have on Nvidia here is this level right here. This has been on my chart for weeks. 172.88. This is a previous all-time high is what this was. And you can kind of see how much the market is still kind of respecting that level. I mean, it's gone over it, tested it, but just look at the confirmations in this level. You know, there's just so many confirmations in that spot right there. So that's a level I'm watching for Nvidia. It's 172.87. Is the music low? Here, I can turn it up. I mean, this is kind of a quiet song. Yeah, I mean, of course it's a pressure event, though. Like, okay, the president is trying to say, hey, look, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to do this. You know, I'm going to start digging into all your stuff is basically what he's saying. That's what's going on. And now he's like, oh, I'm going to visit the Fed now. Let's see if I can, you know, he's looking for dirty laundry is what he's doing. He's trying to leverage that to get, you know, to get what he wants. I'll have a put on a video which has the knockout at $203. I mean, it depends on how long the put is. Yeah, it really just depends on how long the put is. Michael Saylor just did a post that said just Bitcoin for breakfast. Yeah, the biggest problem, like, okay, if your average, depends on where your average is for Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin historically is known to make big swings in the upside and downside. You know what I mean? And so it depends on what your average is. If your average is low, like I would say like under 70s, you're pretty good. You're in a pretty good spot. But if your average is close to where we are now, like $5,000, like 115, 118, and you're a public company and Bitcoin starts to pull back, that's a risk, of course. And so everybody needs to be aware of that risk. And I like Bitcoin long term, but short term, you never know what it's going to do. Bitcoin has been incredibly volatile throughout its lifespan. You know, Bitcoin has gone from virtually nothing to $10,000 a coin back down to $2,000 a coin. So it literally lost 80% of its value at one point, and then it went back up to $20,000 a coin, and then it went up to $65,000 a coin, and then it went all the way back down to like $10,000 or $15,000 a coin, and then it continued. So those are big swings, and if you're a public company, you know, there's always risk, and so you just want to make sure. I think buying more is good, as long as your stock can handle a downswing if we see it. You know what I mean? All right, so post earnings, the price target was raised with cloud acceleration for Google in an area, cloud acceleration an area of strength from this. So we had Bank of America raise the price target to 217 on Google, and they kept the buy rating. Said cloud and search beats were a bright spot in another strong quarter that suggests AI is growing. Bank of America acknowledges growing users of OpenAI as well, and thinks the stock could be underappreciating potentially AI-driven upside, and contends that another stable quarter for Google search results increases confidence in the AI transition and should ease concerns on a potential revenue reset. Morgan Stanley also raised the price target on Google to 210 from 205 and keeps an overnight rating. Morgan Stanley noted generative AI-enabled innovation is driving faster growth, and so a lot of people optimistic on Google. Google at 197. Nasdaq just popped up again. Although this is a fairly large pullback here. Look at this dip. I wouldn't buy this dip. Let me see if we can. All right, we're going to buy a little bit of this dip. We're already green, so we can kind of add to it, I think. See if we get a rip back up to test all-time highs. The problem is this is a big candle. I'm wondering if this is catalyst driven. I'm going to cut it right there. It just kind of retraced all the way back down, and I don't feel like getting stuck in a big pullback. Might be a mistake, but I see Google coming down a little bit. Nvidia's hitting that previous close. I think we're around all-time highs, though, but we still got a ways to go to break it. I'd like us to get over 23.4s. We just popped over it for a second and then came right back down, so I think I'm going to wait. Yeah, I have Bitcoin. What's your opinion on the market right now? Do you believe September will be bearish as usual? Sometimes we'll get a September slump, but we still got a couple months or a month and a half or whatever until September, so we got a little time. Yeah, well, jobless claims came in lower than expected last time. Like, I remember last Thursday, we had a lot of different economic reports. And today, honestly, we got a whole bunch of stuff too. Union Pacific just posted numbers. They posted 315 versus 292. Here's Union Pacific. All right, guys, Google at 196.70s. $80,000 average on Bitcoin. That's a good average. I think it's pretty safe. I mean, you never know, but I think it's pretty safe. Nvidia did make it over this previous level here. Let's see if it holds. I think we got to watch like Tesla here too. All right, so China's premier says China and the European Union can create upgraded export control dialogue mechanism to ensure stability of production and supply chain, according to a source. Jobless claims or unemployment filings week to week. And so a lot of the time when we get the unemployment report, it's lagging, right? What jobless claims is relevant for, and it comes out every Thursday, is jobless claims shows the updated look at unemployment filings, right? It's a week to week unemployment filing report. So it's much less lagging than like the actual unemployment data that we get with payrolls. A lot of buying absorption at 23,390. Yeah, I mean, I don't know when we're going to make the test of these all-time highs. And we don't always have to test it. There's always variance, but we're getting there. I mean, we're close to it, you know. All right, so building permits just dropped. U.S. building permits for June come in at 1.9 or 1.393 versus 1.397, a little bit lower. They did show up at minus 0.1% for June versus 0.2% gain previously in May. So building permit data just showed a little bit weaker than expected. I'm curious if that's going to cause a drop. And again, we got the ECB rate decision going live in about 30 minutes, 27 minutes. They're expecting to pause rates for the first time in 7 meetings. They've cut 7 times in a row. And so for once, they're expected to pause now. We'll see what that looks like, how the market responds to it. It's pretty probable that's what's going to happen, but you never know. Yeah, so you like the new camera angle and the new camera situation. I like this stream better. I think this is a little bit cleaner. We got the ticker list at the bottom, which is cool. Kind of watch everything. What's up, Luca? What's up, John? Lagarde already said in the last meeting the cutting cycle is finished and there will be no more cuts, so there shouldn't be any surprise. Yeah, that's what I said. You never know, but it's pretty probable they're going to pause. Spot. Where's some of the levels for the SPY you were looking at? It seems 659 would be the next target. All right, so here's a dip. We might buy into this pullback here. Hold on. All right, I'm going to buy into this. 2 contracts. Hold on. Maybe add up to 4. It's just a big dip. The range is still pretty small, though, to be honest. All right, we're going to take 4 here. There we go. All right, we're out of half. The range is small, though. We caught a bounce, but... long-term levels in the SPY. I mean, obviously we got the all-time high up there. 600, 650 above us is probably a big milestone area. Whatever this level is right here. Looks like about 6:15. We took half off up here. We can hold the rest pretty close to break even. Might add a little bit more on a dip. All right, so we added a little bit here. We got 2 contracts. I think we run a break 4, like 23.4 on the Nasdaq, but I gotta give it a second to try, and I'll hold it break even now too. Yeah, let's just see if we bounce. We keep bouncing right at my entry, but I want to give it a second. And I hold it pretty close to break even. All right, we're back up. Where'd you get a 39 on the SPY on? I'm gonna cut this here, break even. It might bounce right here, but you know, even if I get out early in some trades, getting into the green and then holding break even allows it to run up a lot more. And so I'd rather get out flat there and not worry about it. If it keeps falling, it's not a stressful trade. The hair is better than the cap. My hair? It's not that I don't want to not wear a cap. It's that when my hair gets long, it's really curly and fluffy and puffy. And like, it's hard to, when it's long, it's just, I don't feel like doing my hair in the morning. You know, I get up at 6 a.m. I'm in Central Time. So I'm an hour earlier than Eastern Time is what local time is for me. And so it's early for me when I get up. I don't feel like getting up and doing my hair, you know. Hey, what's up, Vegas? No, I usually just use 1 minute. Yeah, a little bit low energy. I saw that. A little bit boring of an earnings call for Tesla. And again, guys, so right now, markets are up a lot from the AI infrastructure update from yesterday. They're basically going to be deregulating the chip market. Fast-track AI infrastructure, expedited federal permitting, expanding AI exports with full tech stack of hardware, software, and models, easing environmental and permitting regulation for data centers and semiconductors. This is driven. NVIDIA and AMD CEOs said it was good. They praised it, said it was pivotal to U.S. competitiveness, and now the door is open for expanding semi exports, including NVIDIA H2O and AMD's 308 chips. I All right, so a Reuters poll just came out that said to cut bank rate for Bank of England by 25 basis points each quarter to 3.75% by the year end, unchanged from June. UK GDP growth is going to average 1.1%, they think, in 2025 and 1.2% in 2026 versus 1% and 1.2% respectively. So a slight upgrade to their GDP data. We also have some news regarding the European Union and the U.S. in terms of their trade deal. European Union is going to keep trade retaliation in reserve as a deal with the U.S. comes closer, according to the Financial Times. All right, so we are bouncing up, but we're sideways here. Maybe I could have held, but it's all right. We'll look for buy another dip. I get off work at 3:30, so I usually just stay up. Hey, what's up, Beach? Thanks, man. H2O chips are being shipped to the United Arab Emirates or Saudi or Summit because they bought $2 billion. What's the symbol? Pew. I can look at it. Elon said he sees rough quarters ahead. Think I will hold off on purchasing any stock for a while. Need a major dip. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, so in about 15 minutes, we get the ECB rate decision. I think it's relevant. NVIDIA's kind of falling down, though, right now. NVIDIA rejected back under this level again, down to 172.60s. Hey, thank you. Hey, he said increasingly in panel discussions coming out of the... No, I appreciate the $10 donation. Yeah, so there's growing concern about like central banks and other financial institutions. About NBFIs, which is non-bank financial institutions. Non-bank financial institutions include hedge funds, private equity, money market, insurance companies, pension funds, real estate investment trusts, fintech lenders. They're called the shadow banking system, though that term's a little bit more politically. So basically, bankers are worried because of essentially like lack of regulatory oversight. Unlike banks, they're not subject to the same like requirements. Makes them more vulnerable to sudden liquidity and stuff. They said non-bank financial institutions now represent over half of global financial assets. Yeah, but at the same time, like you could just see this as like they're competitive with each other. You know, they don't like each other because one has to jump through hoops and the other one doesn't. You know what I mean? And so one's acting like a bank and the other is acting more like a something else. So people, they're expecting like stress testing. I don't know how I feel. I think it could just be competition related. But I appreciate the donation. Thanks so much. I do a little bit of everything, but Eli Lilly and Verve announced expiration of Verve tender offer for Eli Lilly. Tender offer for Verve shares at 10.5 a share. Apple's running up a little bit though. Look at Apple. I almost kind of want to buy this here. Let's see. I've been mostly flat. We'll try to buy this here. We're right at the 200 exponential. I think this might actually be a solid little buy, but we'll see. A little volatile right now at 8 a.m. Might have to scrum for 8 a.m. I just thought about that. Constellation Energy is going to have a deal with Calpine, they said. Apple's shooting up a little bit too. I just want to see if Nvidia picks up on some of the strength. We're already green on the day. I don't know. I can either add to it and play with the risk I have on the day. We'll try that. Here we go. There we go. It's kind of whippy right now though. I'm going to cut some of this here. We're mostly flat, but we're not really holding. I wanted to see if Apple kind of picked up a little bit. Look at Apple. Previous closing price on Apple's up here. But at this point, the momentum's showing up a little bit stronger. Dude, how are my fills that bad, man? I gotta try to... Alright, yeah, we're almost completely flat on that trade. Gave ourselves a chance. If we pull back here, maybe we'll buy again, but Apple liquidity is kind of low, so I don't know how much it's moving things. Google's still running up. Nvidia has been very flat all morning. Etsy, I don't really like Etsy as a company. I think it's too niche for me, personally. It might run, I don't know. It's gone up since I looked at Etsy. But it's just too niche for me. I have to look at their margins. Really dig deeper into their margins, so I really don't know about Etsy. Alright guys, we got 25 minutes until jobless claims unemployment comes out. Yeah, I don't know about the IPO. I don't know much about the IPO. Oh my gosh, dude. Windows 11, dude. Stop it. I mean, I could use AI to look up Figma. I know it's a big IPO everybody's talking about, but like, I just don't... Stop it, Windows 11, dude. Stop it. I don't want that. Alright, so Figma is a cloud-based collaborative design platform. It enables designers, developers, product managers, and marketers to build interfaces, wireframes, prototypes together in real time, similar to Google Docs. So they've got a lot of different modes. 13 million monthly active users, 95% of Fortune 500, and 78% of Forbes Global 2000 companies. Almost 750 million revenue, up 50% roughly year over year from 2024. Quarter 1 2025, 228 million, up 46%. So it looks interesting. Figma received $1 billion breakup fee, reinforcing its independent strategy when Adobe tried to take over in 2023, but was abandoned due to regulatory concerns. So it seems like a good company that a lot of people use that makes good money. The only problem with IPOs is that you have no freaking idea what an IPO is going to do. Coinbase was a good company when it IPO'd, and Coinbase went up to Coinbase IPO'd at like 430s, 420s or something like that, and then downtrended for years, all the way down to $40 a share, $30 a share, and then went right back up to 450s where it's sitting now, just under 450. So even if a company's good, you don't know what the IPO is going to look like. You really don't. There's a lot of factors and nuance with IPOs, like where they IPO, the company. There's just a lot of stuff that is important to watch. Yeah, some companies run big. I'm not saying all IPOs fail. Of course, that would be a ridiculous argument. What I'm saying is that there's variance, is what I'm saying. I don't know what those IPOs are going to do. I really don't. I think it's risky. All right, we're at 197.70s for Google. Just broke the highs of pre-market, I think. Yep. Google now getting a run. I find that if I have bias pre-market, I always end up trading badly. It's just better to trade the chart and do what the chart tells me. Right, 100%. I mean, I don't really have bias in terms of like, I think we're going to be green or red. The only time I'll have bias is if we go down really big one day. I think it's probable to go up the next day slightly, or vice versa, right? Like, that's the only bias I really have going into it. I look at extension, but not necessarily on the upside as much, because markets tend to go up long term. All right, guys, we got 22 minutes left. See, Google got rejected here at this all-time high, though. That's a bad sign, but it might get balled up here. It's all the same. Google's Class A. GOG is Class C. Class A just has more voting rights. They're both essentially the same, but Class A shares have more voting rights, so they're slightly more expensive usually. All right, so Sunrun and Tesla Electric announced a partnership for the Tesla Electric and Sunrun Flex plan. Cerebras, I'm not sure yet, Sam. All right, guys, Coinbase dipping down with Bitcoin here. Oil still $65 a barrel, hasn't really moved. If $65 is like an average oil price, I wonder if there's some trades when we get close to $65, you buy it, you sell it, you know. It looks like oil wants to stay over $65 a barrel, and it's been bouncing roughly at 64, 65 bucks. Oh my gosh, dude, Windows 11, you suck, dude, stop it. Yeah, semiconductors are running this morning, guys. Running. All right. Let me put this in live. They like keeping oil there for sure. Right. And so I would assume like oil might have an easier range bound trade. Apple popping up a little bit though right now. It's trying to go green. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this dip. We're gonna load into like 4 contracts here. See if we can get a pop. Last trade we got out was basically break even. Let's see if we can go green on this one. We do have a pretty consistent. The range is so small today, though. So I'll add one more, but then I'll get out some of it. There we go. All right, so we cut a lot of that in the green. Let's see if we hold. Tesla's still coming down, though. Look at Tesla rejected the VWAP here at 312.20s. Google's still running up, though. Nvidia's falling down, though. Apple's moving up, so we're kind of mixed in terms of what's moving. All right, guys, we got 18 minutes until jobless claims unemployment. All right, we're okay. I'm trying to be patient here. We got 18 minutes. And I don't think we have much going out tomorrow. Next week's a much busier week. We got PMI data, new home sales data, durable goods tomorrow. So we got something. We had some earnings today too. Like if we take a look at the earnings calendar today, guys. It's from earningswhisper.com. American Airline BDPS beat revenue, Blackstone BDPS beat revenue, Dow missed EPS missed revenue, Honeywell BDPS beat revenue, Nokia missed EPS missed revenue, Valero, and more. Well, we got the balance. I think I'm just going to leave this. The range is too small. Could add to it again, but I think I'm just going to leave this. But yeah, look, a lot of stuff BDPS beat revenue. So lower jobless claims numbers. Jobless claims is how many people are filing for unemployment week to week, right? So lower is almost always better because lower means less people filed for unemployment. There's more jobs, essentially, is what it means. And so jobless claims unemployment are very important for that specific reason because it just means that more people, it's a more real-time look at unemployment versus like the unemployment rate we get every month. The updated unemployment rate we get every month. And so that's kind of what it is. It's how many people are filing for unemployment. Yeah, we got 15 minutes left. You can see the timer on the left side. We're still holding this trade. It's not really doing much. We're trying to wait for it. I mean, we're green on the day. We've had mostly green trades. Something I'll do on these pullbacks. I was just about to buy it. All right, so we did have an India-UK trade deal statement from India to cut import tariff on large combustion engine cars to 30% for a max of 10,000 units in the first year. We just had the ECB decision, and they came out. They paused interest rates. So they did it 215 versus 215. So they paused interest rates as they expected us to for the ECB. ECB did pause rates just now for the European Central Bank. Nasdaq's kind of reacting negatively to it here, but again, we'll hold this one break even. Look at that candle. Again, they said rates unchanged as expected. Incoming information is broadly in line with the ECB's previous assessment of inflation outlook. Environment remains uncertain, and they reiterated. Here, let me go ahead and cut this. And they reiterated meeting by meeting approach, basically data dependent approach. So here's the ECB statement again. They paused rates as expected, which is not a shock, right? All right, so yeah, this is the first time in 7 decisions by the ECB to pause rates. So they've been cutting for 7 cycles. Now they're pausing. So first pause by the ECB. Yeah, their statement. All right, we're coming down a little bit too after this ECB decision. The last couple times they've asked me to go on Top Step TV, I was traveling and I was having like mic issues, and so I kind of told them, I was like, hey, my mic's not really working the best. You know. All right, guys, we got 12 minutes left. 12 minutes. We got our mic fixed, but you know, I've been traveling for months now. I'm finally home. All right, guys, 12 minutes. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Does it affect crypto? Maybe a little bit. A lot of markets are reacting negatively to the pause news. It's hard to tell whether it's the pause news or whether it's just Nvidia, Google, and others coming down a little bit. Yeah, I got the new mic. There's a couple other settings that I have to mess with to fix the mic a little bit better. So it's all good. All right, so we're still consolidating pretty flat today, heading into the jobless claims unemployment filings. We got about 1,000 people here, so we appreciate you guys. We still got about 11 or 12 minutes. Yeah, all good, Chuck. So they said the ECB decisions are going to be based on inflation and outlook risks. The governing council stands ready to adjust all instruments. APP and PEPP holdings declined at measured, predictable pace. In particular, the ECB's interest rate decisions will be based on its assessment of incoming data, inflation, all that stuff. So that's essentially what we said. They said we'll follow a data-dependent meeting-by-meeting approach to determine appropriate monetary policy. They're determined to ensure inflation stabilizes at 2% target in the medium term. And they're not pre-committing to a particular rate path, is what they said. So that's where we're at now. A lot of these recent dips are really not that big if you look at it. Like we're basically sitting close to all-time highs. Nasdaq tested all-time highs earlier, and so we'll see if jobless claims bring us anywhere closer or farther away from that level. We still have over 10 minutes left. Again, hit the like button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully subscribed. We appreciate it. We still got 10 minutes. What's up, Tiny? Hey, good morning. No, this new mic is right here. I can't remember what it is, but it's something. I don't know. All right, so Nasdaq very choppy though. Slight upward trend. I think you maybe see an upward trend line. All right, guys, we got 10 minutes left. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. All right, now we're slumping some. Yeah, the time is almost here. We got about 9 minutes. Again, are you bullish or bearish? Looking at our poll, 68% are bullish, 32% are bearish from the regarding the jobless claims report. The expected number is at 227. Last time it was 221. So they are expecting a slight uptick relative to last time at 227,000 jobless claims for unemployment filings. So they're expecting 227, but last time was 221, so you can look at either of those numbers to see kind of how the performance is for the jobless claims report. We'll see. AMC going up huge today. Yeah, I know a lot of meme stuff is running like AMC and GameStop, but honestly, man, I've kind of lost interest in those, man. Like, there's too many influencers that have sprouted up trying to like pitch conspiracy theories to grow a following on social media. And I'm not just gonna tell people what they want to hear, even though I know it's fabricated or nonsense, right? Just so I can grow a following. I think that's unethical. I'd rather not do that. And so, to be honest, I've lost a lot of interest in GameStop. If GameStop starts to break over my levels for GameStop has not made it over $40 a share since mid last year. If GameStop starts to get over $40 a share, I'll be interested in it. I'll look at it. I'll cover it. I'll watch it. Until then, it's been back and forth for years. I don't really, it's lost a lot of attention to, a lot of hype. Yeah. All right, look at Tesla fall down some more here too. Open's interesting. It's obviously highly volatile. All right, guys, 7 minutes left. 7 minutes. Yeah, Open's interesting. It's obviously just highly volatile, though. That's the problem. All right, look at the Nasdaq tumble here. Chips are falling back down a little bit after a big run over the last 20 hours. Yeah, Open Door went up to almost 5. It's now down over 50% from the highs it put in 3 days ago. So that's why I don't mess with these. I told people kept asking me about Open, and I told them the same thing. I'm like, look, not really interested. What is the trade entry? Trade entry for what, bro? All right, guys. Hey, 5 minutes left. Got about 1,200 here. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We got a little bit over 5 minutes, actually. Nasdaq pulling closer to this 365 level. Again, the big news in markets right now. Yesterday, the AI action plan was announced. It's essentially deregulation in the AI world, right? It's going to allow us to export more chips, more stuff. NVIDIA and AMD CEOs praised it. It's causing a lot of hype and interest around chips right now, microchips. So chip stocks have been running, but we're also starting to see them dip down a little bit. Here's AMD. We had Google and Tesla earnings yesterday. Tesla did not react well. Google reacted very well. But you can kind of see the Nasdaq start to tumble here with AMD falling back down a little bit. Microsoft's falling down a little bit. Apple's pulling back some. And so, but yeah, the Nasdaq's starting to tumble. Oh, I mean, I'm not going to trade before the news. I might buy it after or something, but I'm going to wait until the news comes out, see what kind of sentiment we get is what I'm going to look at. All right, guys, here we go. 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. Tesla spiked up a little bit. Let's see if we bounce right here. We got a previous low here at 365. We honestly have a lot of confirmation here. We're too close to this release, though. We got 4 minutes left, chat. Yeah, so we got JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley down a little bit, Wells Fargo. What's Bank of America's symbol again? I always forget it. High jobless means rate cuts. It means higher probability of a cut. It doesn't mean it's probable, but it just means there's a bigger chance that we cut rates if the labor market's weak, right? So if the labor market's weak, there's a higher probability of a rate cut. But I still don't think it's very plausible or very probable, I should say, for next week's Wednesday meeting. I don't think we're going to cut rates next Wednesday. I think it's like a 5% chance right now that we do a rate cut next Wednesday. So I just don't think that's what we're going to get. I just don't think that's what, I just don't think that's what we're going to get. All right, Tesla moving up. We're at 312.50s here for Tesla. It's starting to bounce back a little bit. Oh, yeah, it's BAC. I forgot about that. Yeah, a lot of bank stocks are volatile after earnings last week. We don't have a meeting in October, I don't think, Iggy. We might. Let me look. All right, guys. Hey, we got 2.5 minutes left until jobless claims unemployment filings come out. We'll see what this looks like. Again, we had building permits show up already, weaker than expected. We got jobless claims. Yeah, so I mean, as of now, when we look at the odds for rates, less than 5% chance, 2.6% chance of a cut in July. We do have an October meeting. Okay, it's the 29th. Right now, it's still looking 65% chance, 4% chance likely that we're going to cut some amount by September. So right now, the most probable outcome is September, but that's always subject to change. Hey, we got 2 minutes left. This timer's a little bit early, I think. We got about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed if you want to be in real time. October probabilities of any rate cut by October is 50, 60, 70, 80, 81% chance of a cut by October. But it doesn't mean it's an 81 chance of a cut in October. It means when you combine, it means that there's an 80% chance of a cut by October, meaning it could come in September, could come in July. By October, 80% chance. All right, guys, we got 1 minute. Yeah. All right, guys, 1 minute, 50 seconds. Here we go. Get ready. We had the ECB rate decision. They paused rates. We got jobless claims coming out soon. 30 seconds. All right, this timer's a little bit early. We actually have about 20 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button. All right, so continuing claims expected at 1.96 million. All right, here we go. We got about 5 seconds. Nasdaq's bounced back, though. Let's see what we get. All right, and there's the report. Jobless claims. All right, so we had retail sales for Canada show up at minus 1.1%. The Nasdaq is actually down a little bit. Jobless claims showed up at 217 versus 227. Better than expected. 217K versus expected 227. Continuing claim showed 1.955 versus 1.96 expected. So everything was lower than expected. So jobless claims out better than expected, 217 versus 227. Continuing claims 1.955 million versus 1.96 million expected. So better than expected basically everywhere. Lower than expected continuing claims showed less people filing for unemployment week to week. Jobless claims showed 217 versus 227. And the Nasdaq is down on this report, which is interesting. If we want to take a deeper look into this, in the week ending July 19th, the advanced figure for seasonally adjusted jobless claims was 217, a decrease of 4,000 from the previous week's unrevised level of 221. The 4-week moving average was 224.5, a decrease of 5K. The advanced seasonally adjusted insured unemployment rate was 1.3% for the week ending July 12th, unchanged from the previous week's unrevised rate. The advanced number for seasonally adjusted insured employment during the week ending July 12th was 1.955 million. You can see the graph here. In terms of unadjusted data, the advanced number of initial claims under state programs unadjusted totaled 215,792 in the week ending July 19th, a decrease of 45,319 or minus 17.4% from the previous week. Seasonal factors had expected a decrease of 15.8%. We dropped 17.4% from the previous week. Instead, there were 225,839 initial claims in the comparable week last year in 2024. So we came in under that number from last year as well. You can see the numbers here for jobless claims. You can see states and the changes there. So yeah, jobless claims a little bit better than expected, lower than expected. Again, this is an updated look on unemployment filings, and they showed a little bit lower than expected. Again, specifically at 217 versus 227 initial claims, which is the most important one. Nobody expects cuts anyway. Yeah, I mean, we didn't really move too much from this report, in all honesty. Like, we didn't have some big reaction to this report today. All right, guys, so we're still dipping down a little bit. We'll see what we can get here. But jobless claims lower than expected here, chat. Lower than expected. All right, guys. United Health says special master finds no wrongdoing in Medicare Advantage business, according to SEC. We also had Ameriprise Financial post second quarter EPS of 911 versus 8977. Revenue of, I'm not really sure. We had the U.S. National Activity Index show negative 0.1 versus previous negative 0.28 or negative 0.3. Canadian retail sales also came out. But the Nasdaq's falling down still here. What stock is driving this? SPY is heading down. We got Google. Google's still up there. AMD decreasing. NVIDIA. So this is AMD and NVIDIA. Microchips are falling back down some is what's driving this. All right, so we're still decreasing, but yeah, unemployment claims dropped. What do you guys think? United Health? Powell's doing his job. It's like too many people are hyping up a July cut. Need to be more patient. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of mixed, right? Like, and I've said this once, I'll say it again, and I think it's important for people to take their bias out of it and try to like understand what I'm saying. But hold on, let me but people are acting like right now it's very clear what we need to do, and I think, like, I'm gonna preface it with, like, I'm not politically biased on either side. I really don't care about politics at all on either side. I just kind of cover the news. I really am. I'm very neutral on politics. I don't let it take up too much space in my head. And I think a lot of people that are really acting like one decision here is super, super obvious are really politically motivated. And that's okay. Like, be political if you want. I'm not necessarily against you. Like, live your life. I'm not really against either side, you know. But I think it's somewhat ambiguous right now in terms of what decision we should make. We don't really have a super weak labor market or a super weak economy right now. Not in terms of most likely quarter 2 data. On the other end of it, though, we did have negative first quarter GDP. So, like, we have some negative data, but it's not super negative, and they think quarter 2 is going to be much more positive, and it's mostly just driven by the tariffs specifically. And so people acting like we have to do one specific thing and that it's super obvious. Again, if you want to argue that in chat, I'll listen to you, and maybe you're right, but let me know your argument in chat, because right now I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think you could probably argue a July cut. You could probably argue a September cut easily as well. And even people like Bowman, who, are on the president's side, said that, like, there's not going to be much difference between July and September. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't think it's super obvious. And again, we're going to be day trading the opening bell, so stick around. And again, if you guys think I'm wrong, let me know it. Like, I'm open to listen. I'm not really against it. Nasdaq's still coming down. All right, still falling down pretty fast here. Looks like it's mostly microchips pulling back some. Yeah, I mean, again, if you got an argument, the Federal Reserve, there's an argument that a later cut is better. Potentially extends the cycle. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sorry, brother. I mean, I'm not really interested in working with any other companies right now, Nas. I appreciate the donation, but I'm just not interested in working with any other companies, brother. Sorry. I appreciate the donation, though. Thank you. It was about $1, but I appreciate it. But with that, regardless of how much you donate, I'm just not interested in working with any other companies right now, brother. I take shorts a lot, Chuck. We've just been breaking all-time highs, and I'm not really going to short all-time highs, if that makes sense. And so when I'm day trading, I'm not going to short all-time highs. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, look. Okay. Cutting rates does not come without risks, right? The risks of cutting rates is inflation. And so the problem with cutting rates is that we might see some inflation issues. That's the real risk, is that there might be some inflation problems from cutting rates, from stimulating the economy in that way, especially if we do QE. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. Here, let me put the jobless claims number up. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'm okay with being a little bit more restrictive if it means that inflation stabilizes. We've seen a lot of inflation over 5 years. That's a risk. I don't want inflation to go up anymore. You shouldn't want inflation to go up anymore, regardless of who you agree with politically. Inflation's a risk, right? But I also could probably understand the whole point of cutting rates is to be, is to do it early to avoid a recession and not necessarily after. Not be reactive, but be predictive of economic weakness. And so I understand that as well. And I think you might be. My thing is balance. We're still doing quantitative tightening, which is a restrictive thing. And so if we want to cut 25 basis points and continue QT, I'm okay with that. Or if we want to pause rates but in QT, I'm okay with that as well. Right? So I'm somewhere in the middle right now, and I don't think the answer is really obvious. Like, you have to understand every single president is going to push, unless we're in some super massive inflationary cycle, every single president is going to push for lower rates. Why? Because lower rates stimulate the economy, and a strong economy is a bragging right for for presidents. So if you have strong GDP, the presidents are going to say, look at the GDP under my watch, guys. That's what presidents do. It's not even one side president. It's all presidents want to do that. But it's not always the right time to stimulate the economy, and you need more justification for it. You need justification for it, which maybe we have right now, maybe we don't. Again, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not against you if you want rate cuts. I'm really not. I think you could probably argue one, but it needs to be balanced. I definitely don't want to do QE. I don't think we need to do QE. I think QE would be ridiculous right now. It would just cause inflation problems, and the economy and labor market isn't super weak to begin with in the first place. So I don't think we should ever do QE right now, of course. But we'll see what happens. Bud. If they say bud at the beginning, I just assume they're Canadian. Like, hey, bud, you go to the store, eh? Hey, I like my Canadians, okay? I lived in Canada for some time. My stepdad was Canadian, So, shout out to the Canadians. He said rate cuts by September. Well, the most probable thing is a rate cut by September at this point in time, Yeah, it's probably an attempt. Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing, bro? Yeah. Bond market is another great market for cuts. Yeah, let's see how bonds reacted to this. Let's see how bonds reacted to this here. All right, here's 10-year treasuries. Honestly, bonds mostly reacted favorably to this. Where's 830? 830 is right. Bonds were already kind of spiking. Yields were already kind of spiking, showing a more restrictive thing, which is understandable, right? And the reason this happens is because a stronger labor market means less of a need to cut rates. Yeah, well, your last one got removed, but I appreciate it, Nas. Thanks for the donation, bro. But yeah, so if we have less of a need to cut rates, yields are going to spike. Bond prices are going to go down. Yields are going to go up. And that's what we're seeing. Right now, the Nasdaq's falling, though. Look at this. We're dipping down. It might be time for me to buy the Nasdaq, though. Hold on, let me see. We'll try to scale in. We're flat. I think this AI chip bill is good for AI. And we're close to all-time highs. We tested it early this morning. So I might add into this, try to take a larger position. We're already green on the day. We've got a cushion, so. Well, we're getting kind of beat up here. Let's see if we can buy to this more. I don't really like shorting low of the day levels. But I'm hoping we don't get a continuation here. I wanted to give it some time, but yeah. We're about flat on the day now, honestly. But I want to give it a second to retrace. American Airlines CEO says premium demand and spending from higher income consumers remain resilient in quarter two on a year-over-year basis. Unit revenue and premium cabin performed 4 points better than main cabin. Well, we wanted to buy the dip. We were trying to be contrarian, but now we're down. I still want to see if it bounces back. But problem is we got kind of a squeeze on the downside. I'm going to liquidate a third of it. Nvidia is breaking down too. I would assume the chip bill would make us go up, but maybe we've already gone up too much. Yeah, I think I gotta cut it. We're just getting too much red momentum. Is there a news release that happened this morning? Maybe the rate cut news is making people freak out. That's the only thing I can think of. Less likely to cut rates. I'm gonna switch accounts. We're not down much on this one. We're down less than $100, but I'll try to maybe trade a combine in this. I'll buy a dip in a combine. Make myself feel better. We'll let that roll. We got a big bounce. Let's see if it follows through though. Oh man, we were just trading our funded account, so we just made all the money back accidentally. We thought it was a combine account. Oh well. I mean, that's good. I accidentally made money on my, but I don't really like the fact that I took that much risk on my funded account. I got to pay more attention. I was trying to catch a bounce here. This is a challenge account, so if I fail here, it's significant. That's why you see me take much larger size on this one. There we go. We'll cut it. Alright, so we're actually up a lot in this now. I'll cut another piece of it. ECB President Lagarde in a post-meeting statement said survey data point to an overall modest expansion. Well, if we dip, we'll add more to this. See if we can ride a rebound back up. Alright, that's the dip we wanted. There we go. Alright. Liquidated a bunch of it. Up really nice here. Alright, we're out. Up about 150 on that. Tesla, but Tesla, Elon was a little bit pessimistic. He said he thought risks would happen in the next few months. And so we're kind of in the middle, to be honest, with that type of stuff. Like, there's some risks, sure, but what's up, Tiny? Yeah, my first trade was a little early. I'm still actually like flat on the day. I accidentally took my funded account. All right, so Lagarde said survey data points to overall modest expansion, higher tariffs, and stronger euro are expected to make it harder for firms to invest. Strong labor market, rising real incomes, and solid private sector balance sheets support consumption. I see it, Tiny. Today is for Bitcoin. I don't know. Bitcoin's down a lot. Bitcoin's not really moving today. I mean, it's down a little bit, but yeah, my rebound trade would have worked. I think I got in here, but we just kept on dipping. Are you shorting Google at market open? No. No, not at all. I kind of want to buy this dip. Should I? Well, it means less people are filing for unemployment week to week. You know, is what it means. I'm going to add up to 15 here. There we go. Leave it at that. See if we get a pop. We're green. Let's see if it keeps going up. There we go. All right, lesson learned. I gotta use limit orders. Market orders are terrible, Phils. It's just too wingy. I'm trying to get used to that here. So, I'm gonna start cutting this around the top here. You gotta watch Tesla and Nvidia though. These are the ones that have been dropping. Google's doing okay though. We can hold this break even. We actually ended green on this trade, believe it or not, but or at least we are right now. All right, guys, so we still got 35 minutes left into the opening bell. We're going to be day trading futures like we are now at the opening bell with a little bit larger size. Yeah, we're kind of scalping out of this with limit orders. Maybe gonna hold the last piece break even here. I just got out right there. That's fine. Circle, crazy run. since its IPO. 64s to 300. But now it's kind of been on a pullback phase. The last 3 days has been dipping down. On a technical perspective, I think paying attention to the $200 level makes sense, which is exactly where it's at now for Circle. But we'll see. Here's Circle is at $200 even. That's what I'm watching for. No, we're not going to cut next week, especially after this labor market data. And so this is really so we do have some stuff coming out before the report next week, but they're not going to change their decision that close. They're almost certainly going to pause rates on Wednesday next week. They're almost certainly going to pause rates Wednesday next week. Because so Monday, nothing scheduled, but Tuesday we have CB Consumer Confidence, the JOLTS job report, the Case-Shiller House Price Index. Wednesday morning, we got non-farm employment. Last time was negative 33,000, and GDP data for quarter two. The first quarter two reading, the initial estimate for quarter two GDP. Look at Google rise. And then Wednesday evening or afternoon, we got the FOMC decision and the press conference with Powell. Thursday, we got jobless claims unemployment and non-farm payrolls on Friday with PCES as well on Thursday. So we just have a whole lot of data coming out next week. I'm not going to recommend any trades to anybody, Vish. I'm not really a market professional. I'm not liable if you lose. I don't know what you should do. Trade smart, can't guarantee anything. Starting to see a rebound, though. Tesla's still falling. Tesla at 310 right now in pre-market. So you can see Tesla down there. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. No PDT rule. If you want to day trade the futures market, no PDT rule. Get you around the PDT rule. You can day trade the S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, basically the SPY, Q price action, among a lot of other things. You can get started for $50. And so if you're a good day trader and you want to get started for cheap and you don't have that much money, I think this is the best option to get started. As well as, even if you're not a winning day trader, if you fund your own account 5, 10, 20, 30 grand, you're probably going to lose it. Instead, it's $50 a month for Top Step. If you pass their test, which is a reasonable ratio of passing, you got to make $3K without losing $2K. If you pass it, $50K funded account, 90% split, and they pay out millions and millions of dollars. They have some of the most reliable payouts in the game. They fund thousands of traders. Zero commission on Top Step X if you use their native platform. It just makes sense to learn and grow this way, and even especially if you don't have that much money. And if you're good enough, you could withdraw and fund your own account. It's just a great way to learn. I'll put the link up and pin it to the top of the chat. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them, so I'm biased. But if you want to check them out, I'll pin the link to the top of the chat. Great way to help support the channel. Appreciate the love. Thanks so much. All right, so let me do another poll here. I see we did a last poll. So Lagarde asked about the exchange rate, said the ECB does not target FX rates, but does monitor them. So we're going to do another poll here. We're going to say, when does the Fed cut rates? July, or this month? What is it, July 30th? September, October, December plus is going to be the question. Again, so when does the Fed cut rates? Vote on that poll. Let me know what you guys think. Hey, look, let's just not argue, guys. Either way. If you've gone back and forth with somebody and neither side is getting it and you're just kind of arguing in chat, it's best not to just move on. Respect the other side's opinion and then just move on, either side. Yeah, we talked about Figma earlier. Interesting IPO, but who knows when it's going to happen. Again, it's so up in the air either way. Like, the right rate decision, nobody knows. Like, we don't know if we're going to... I think you could argue either side pretty reasonably. Looking at our poll number so far, 42% think September, which is the most probable outcome. 17% think October. 17% think this month. If you think we're genuinely going to cut in July, I just don't think it's very probable. I've always said why. Like, look, here's the CME Watch tool. They have July at 2.6% likelihood for July. They have way more information and data, way more updates. You know, banks know a lot more than we do generally about rates and the most likely outcome. And so I'm surprised we have almost 20% of people that think this outcome is going to happen. You know, this is the most probable one. A pause, of course, but hey, who knows? Maybe Powell just does 50 basis point cut. Unlikely, though. I think we should hike rates to 10% and get it over with. Well, inflation has always mostly fallen, though. Like, okay, inflation is at a reasonable spot. You know, people like to say, oh, 2% target. 2% is hard to get. You know, of course, like my target is $1 billion by the time I'm 50. If I have 30 billion, 40 billion, I'm going to be okay with that. Or if I have, if I have 500 to 700 million, I'll be okay with that. You know, I think we have to look at the inflation target in the same way. We can't say anything outside of 2% is bad. I think if we're in the 2-point-something% range, we're doing okay for inflation. In terms of the rate at which inflation is happening yearly, 2-point-something% is usually pretty solid. Top 3 down to earth. I try, man. I try. Fig IPO. Is it really? What's up, Fibby? How you doing, brother? Big Ben. I don't know what you're saying, brother. Oh, would I still do beginner trading at $1 billion? Occasionally, I'm sure. But it'd be a lot less. I'd be trading some big amounts though. But I wouldn't really care about, you know. I've said once, I'll say it again. I'm not here out of the kindness of my heart. I could pretend just to tell you guys what you want to hear. But, like, I'm here to make money. Of course, everybody is. Nobody's here just because they want to help people. Outside of maybe a couple, like, billionaires and millionaires who just like interacting with people. Which I like interacting with you guys, too. But my motivation to get up at 6 a.m. at the crack of dawn and do this would be a lot less if I had $1 billion. Hey, what's up, Billy? Yeah, give me 500 mil out the door. I'll take that deal, you know. For me to make $1 billion right now, I think the most probable way to do it would be to build software. And then I have an audience that I could, you know, promote it to as well. It'd have to just be a good software for me to feel comfortable with doing it, and then look for a buyout or something. But that's a long road. ECB president says policy is in a good place. Asked about recent tariff developments, they say the baseline is currently holding. When asked about the exchange rate, they say they don't comment on FX rates, but they monitor them. After those 200 mil from boxing Mayweather. Yeah. Yeah, I could turn into Connor. at 100 mil. Start punching old people, you know. All right, guys. Hey, we got 20 minutes left. 20 minutes. We'll see what we get. Do y'all like the new setup on stream, though? Let me know in chat right now. I like this layout a little bit better, I think. A lot more stuff to watch. All right, the 200 exponential right around 373. I'll think about a short if we get up there, maybe. Depends on where we're at relative to the opening bell, though. What's up, good news? Lagarde says growth is in line, if not better than baseline. Says she is confident that the inflation shock is behind us. Sorry, guys. Scratch my back a little bit. All right, guys. Look at Google. Come down to 197. Google's still trying. Yeah, we're going to trade the market open. Somebody wanted me to look at Circle. We got Tesla on the left. I prefer these three, Google, Nvidia, and Tesla today, but it's always subject to change. Yeah, I got one of those, dude. Honestly, oh, look, pencil. I got one of those, those hole punches in your back where they like see a sketchy mole and they remove it. But since then, it's like itched constantly. It's always the same spot. This was like 2 years ago. Blackstone CEO says real estate markets are showing positive signs. In what way? All right, the U.S. House Republicans introduced a companion bill to end Chinese buying of American farmland, according to Fox. Yeah, but this was 2-3 years ago that I got that thing. Did you pull back on jiu-jitsu? No, I went last night. I went Monday. I went Tuesday night. So no, I train 3-4 times a week still. Rate hike in September, don't tell nobody. Well, you and 65% of the rest of the world thinks that as well, including 40% of the chat. So you're not an anomaly thinking we're going to cut rates in September. I would say you're in the majority. ECB's Lagarde in the Q&A on the risks of undershooting its inflation targets says there's actually a forecast for undershooting. ECB will not be moved by minor deviations from the target in 2026 next year. How did you start jiu-jitsu? I was an MMA fan I've been an MMA fan since Shogun Rua versus Dan Henderson. A little bit before that, actually. So I started watching it before that, but that was the fight that I watched that got me kind of hooked on MMA. But I had never trained up until like years ago. And so after a certain point of watching it, you kind of feel like a poser. If you watch it and you never train, you feel kind of like a poser, you know. And so after a certain point, I just couldn't help it. I had to go try it. And then I actually went and I did pretty good. Like I skateboarded, so my balance is good. And I had known the positions in jiu-jitsu just from watching it. So once you learn how to do them, you kind of know kind of like a playbook of stuff a little bit faster than somebody that's never trained that just kind of walks in and doesn't know what side control is or back mount or anything. It's just different. So. Ben 10, he's talking about it's like some kids thing. Who do you think would make a good press? Honestly, guys, I don't watch politics. Like I don't know who the upcoming I don't know who they're going to try to throw out there for press after him. I really don't, on either side. I don't really watch politics like that. I stay out of it. I watch policy, finance decisions, and markets. I don't really watch political news on either side. I really don't. People think I'm just saying this because I'm on YouTube. I'm not. Like, I don't really get involved in it. I don't let it take up too much headspace. So, anyways, ECB President Lagarde on the prospect of trade retaliation from the European Union says its retaliation is optional. It's not definite, end quote. We're getting choppy right now. I would be day trading, but I don't think trading 18 minutes until the open with this sideways trend really makes sense. You can kind of see how stagnant we are right now. Like, I'm not really trying to trade this. It just doesn't look good. Maybe you could argue like a flag, you know, or something, or whichever way. I don't know. I'm just not really interested in trading this right now. Mid-cap AI stocks you guys are interested in. I like quantum stocks. Oh, wait. Let me see where Mitch is at. Or that dude who did the 8-hour standoff in Congress. Yeah, I don't know. When do you decide to trade pre-market? When I think we have a clear trend to attack. Like, I'm looking for volatility on either side. And so the easiest way to put it is I'm looking for stuff like this. Stuff like this. I'm looking for stuff like this. I don't want this. Looks like Stonehenge. Get your mind out the gutter, guys. I don't want to trade that. Not necessarily. Not unless we, like, buy the dip and look for a bounce back up sometimes. But I want volatility here. Like, big moves on either side. Like, I want stuff like that. I'm not really interested in attacking chop, which is kind of what we're getting here. So I'll trade a range, but not like that. Not like this. Like, I don't want to short the top of this tiny little range and buy the bottom. There's too much chance that it's going to go to either side, and I think the outcome is relatively random at this point in time. We could go this way. We could go this way. You can try to figure out which way we're going to go, but I don't think there's a big edge in attacking it. Where's gold at right now? I've been watching gold this morning. Gold at 33.60s. Magnitude 5.7 earthquake hit Indonesia according to EMSC. All right, guys. So Nasdaq, if we look at a longer term trend on the NQ, here's all-time highs right here. I think it's 124.75 or something like that, but that's all-time highs. You can see earlier this morning we tested it, but here's all-time highs. Didn't quite get up there. And so I honestly, if I have a bias, it's on the upside, because I think we tested it, we pulled back. Now the market might want to rip back up. Again, I try not to be too biased on it though. Lagarde said something else. They said President Lagarde with the ECB, the European Central Bank, on trade policy reiterated that the ECB is in a wait and watch situation. They are on hold. Any policy decision will be decided on the basis of data, meeting by meeting, not predetermined by a particular path. So that's where we're at now. Again, I'm not telling you to buy, though. We got 12 minutes into the opening bell. I really don't know what the market's going to do. Yes, I hear the rumor that they're going to change the PDT rule to 2,000. I think that's a great thing, honestly. I think they should. You guys red or green today? Let me know. You guys red or green? Apple's coming down a little bit. Apple's had a nice run. It's still slightly red on the day. Bank stocks are kind of mixed. Bank of America's green. JP Morgan's red in pre-market. Google's green. Tesla's red. Nvidia is green still. Yeah, and that's why I always talk about Top Step, because Top Step gets you around the PDT rule. You know, the rumor is they're going to do it later this year. We'll see. But the good thing about Top Step is that they get you around the PDT. There's no PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, Nasdaq, Dow, Russell, gold. Zero PDT rule. Get started for $50 a month, which is cheaper even than the $2,000 PDT rule. It's cheaper. And you can day trade. Patterns are very similar. Payouts are reliable. You can check them out. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Link is in the chat, pinned at the top of the chat as well as in the description, but I'm biased for sure. Genuinely a good company though. Nvidia down to 172s. So I'm watching Nvidia. I want to see if Nvidia bounces here too. Gold kind of stagnant after pulling back a little bit. I still, again, my bias is bullish at the open, but you never know. There's so much variance. We got 10 minutes left, and there's so much variance that comes with it. I keep within $100 of passing it each time. Are you scaling down to only a couple micros once you get that close? The way I pass them, and again, everybody's different, right? The way I pass them is I use either like a lot of micros or a couple NQ E-mini positions to get close to the target. I have to break it into 2 days, but once I get within a couple $100 away from the price target to pass it, I scale down big to maybe like 4 micros tops. And then I just kind of take small base hits to make that last $100. Because if I try to swing big for that last $100, there's too big of a chance that I'm going to have a drawdown. Anyways, the EU Commerce Secretary Lutnick says the European Union really wants to make a deal, according to CNBC. Q is set to vote on a restructuring. But everybody's different. I can't guarantee that's going to work, of course, you know. All right, guys, we got the opening bell in 9 minutes. All right, so Lagarde says the decision for today's unchanged decision was unanimous. Risk assessment was broadly shared. So basically, all the members agreed. We also have, remember, we do have manufacturing PMI coming out at 9:45 market time. So we do have manufacturing PMI dropping. Yeah, that comes out in 23 minutes. Yeah, that comes out in 23 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So services PMI, manufacturing PMI for July, both dropping. in 20 minutes or so, give or take. So we'll see what those show up as. We also have new home sales at 10, so we'll see what that looks like as well. I think we're going to see a lot of deals announced next week, leading into August 1st. That's $50 a month for the base one, she. All right, Lagarde says if trade tensions are resolved in short order, we'll clear some uncertainty that is weighing on decision-making, consumers, investors, and it would help determine outcome of the tariffs. Again, market's kind of flat right now, though. We haven't really moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. We've been basically sideways with a, a reduction of the range as well, kind of leading into it. So we'll see what the opening bell brings. Starting to get a pump up, though, a little push up. We got a 5-minute chart up here. Starting to creep up a little bit now, though. When President Lagarde was asked about banking and reserves, she says there's plenty of liquidity in the banking system. All right, so we're starting to see a little pump back up. Google bouncing at the VWAP 200 exponential. Tesla coming down still, though. NVIDIA is rebounding over the last few minutes. We got 6 minutes left, a little bit less than that, actually. Yeah, people like to criticize, but the reality of it is, yeah, Alexa, we're not going to promote other links here. Sorry, brother. But the reality of it is most people are going to lose money day trading. Regardless of where they go, doesn't matter where you go, you're probably going to lose. And so you could either fund your own account for no reason and probably lose it in the beginning, or you could try a funded account prop firm. And Top Step's the most legit. And so I'm biased, but that's your options, I think, in my opinion. And again, you're still probably going to lose, but frankly, it's a lot cheaper to lose $50 than it is to fund $5,000 like I did in the beginning and lose that in 3 weeks. And again, I've said this story 1,000 times, but that amount of money was a lot for me at the time. 3-4K, that was a lot of money. That was like all the money I had. It ended up working out because I kind of created a trading YouTube channel out of it that has brought way more, of course, but most people, it's not going to be like that, you know. Yeah, they always say shorts take the elevator down, longs take the stairs. All right, so we're starting to see a move back up here in NVIDIA, specifically microchips, AMD. Starting to climb back up a little bit. Meta's starting to test highs of the day. Microsoft as well. So a lot of chip stocks running, tech stocks, Mag 7 tech stocks running. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've always said the same thing, and I hope people understand what I'm saying with these. People argue against it, but anybody that understands statistics understands what I'm about to say, which is that the longer you hold a long position, when we're talking about blue chip stocks, indices, Mag 7, generally, and there's always outliers, but generally the longer you hold a long position, the more likely it is you're going to make money. The longer you hold a short position, the less likely you are to make money in those same stocks. Why? Why is this true? Well, because You don't know what's going to happen in a 5 to 10 year period. But in a 10 to 20 year period, it is incredibly probable that markets are going to move up. And so if the longer you hold it, the more likely it is that markets are going to move up with you. And it's vice versa for shorts. If you're shorting something, again, there's always outliers. I say generalized and there's outliers, but people bring up like, what about this isolated period of time, guys? It's like, well, that's an isolated period of time. When you zoom out, if you're in doubt, zoom out. You know, I'm like, hey, in general, this happens. They're like, well, you know, my uncle's cousin bought and lost money one time. It's like, yeah, that's true, but you gotta understand what generally means. Anyways. Well, I'm not talking about AMC or GameStop because those aren't blue chip indices or large cap Mag 7. Those are speculative. Really, those are markets in which, you know, those sectors are struggling. So, definitely not talking about them. All right, guys, let's get ready to day trade live. Nasdaq's pushing up. We're at 23,376. Tesla falling down a little bit, but a lot of stuff's rebounding back up. Look at Microsoft pop. Microsoft got up to almost 509s just now. Yeah, long-term gains compound, 100%. It's very easy to show this. I show it with the calculator because it's easier to kind of say what I'm saying, but you got $100,000. That grows by 9% a year. Oh, wait, that's 90%. That's 9%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 30. So 100K is going to turn into about 1.3 million in 30 years. Roughly. Most likely. Right? Something around here. Might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more. But that's about average returns if we take the last century of market data into the equation. That's why you don't short Mag 7 indices or anything like that long term. It's the biggest sucker bet you could ever get involved with. And sometimes I think the people that think the market's going to crash every other year or every other day, I think they're people who are doing this for some reason. I don't know how you get talked into shorting the Nasdaq long term. But I just assume that's what they're doing. All right, guys. Hey, we got 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 2 seconds. Here's the opening bell. All right, there's the bell. Getting some red action initially. Tesla just cracked lows right at the open, down to 308s at the opening bell. 307s for Tesla. Tesla falling quickly. Although Google's rebounding back up, it's still helping the market. And Apple's ripping up. Apple's pushing up right now at the opening bell, although it just retraced a little bit. Microsoft's pushing up as well. Google, Microsoft, Nvidia. But mostly higher since the bell. All right, remember, all-time highs are right here. I don't know, Tesla's retraced back up a little bit. Lagarde asked about market pricing for rate cuts this year, says ECB is in a good place and a good position to deal with turbulent quarters and risks over the coming months. All right, we got this big dip now at the opening bell. We'll see what happens. We're a minute and a half into the day. Nvidia's turning. So is Google here. A lot of stuff's turning red right now. That's why I don't trade that first 5-10 minute period. All right, guys. Nasdaq turning red. A lot of stuff red. I'm gonna take one little bitty. This is a combine account, so if I fail here, it doesn't matter. That's the only reason I'm trading this early. I usually don't. With that said, though, look at this. Right, we took some off here. We might add some more too on a bounce. It's a combine account, so we're going to trade this way differently than we normally do. There we go. Let's take some swings here. I got to build up a lot of profit here, so I might as well take some big swings. There we go. All right, we're out. We just made about 600. Shorting this pop. Once we start breaking down under the... Look at Tesla. Oh, my goodness, man. Tesla hit 302s, 302.80s. NVIDIA's coming back, so is Google, but man. Apple's running at the opening bell, but it's pulling back too. Microsoft is as well. Google up to 197s. Back up here. Google's starting to fight back. All right, guys. Tesla hit almost 300s here, which kind of makes me want to buy it because I think we might bounce to a certain extent there. Don't copy me. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But we did just bounce. All right, so there's the bounce we talked about. NVIDIA bouncing up, Tesla bouncing right at 300s, big support level for it, which is driving markets. NVIDIA, Google rebounding back up, Microsoft bouncing back up, Apple pushing up. NVIDIA just broke the 173 level. Look at this. I might want to buy this again here, though. Let's try. Add a little bit to it, see if we pop back up. I'm not gonna hold it too long though. All right, there we go, we're out. They get a lot better with limit orders. All right, we cut the rest break even there. Yeah, so here's the problem though, is like now Google's starting to break down here. So you got to watch like Mag 7 to see what's going to happen. We did rebound a little bit up here. 200 exponential rejected it, and now Google's starting to trend down. So if Tesla starts testing this level here at 300 and then Google starts like breaking down, even if NVIDIA continues up, it's still probably going to drive us down. And Google just cracked lows. Tesla's at 302s. There's Google really breaking down under lows. There we go. NVIDIA's still pushing up though. Google's still falling here. Look at this. Microsoft's starting to rip back up too. Meta's red. Yeah. All right, guys. The president denied he will take any subsidies that Elon's companies would use. Yeah, interesting day, man. Interesting day. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate it. All right, there's the breakdown again. Google crack lows. Tesla starting to test lows. My hands are off. It's too unpredictable right now. We got Nvidia ripping up, Google breaking down, Tesla breaking down, Microsoft trying, Apple green, but starting to get close to that previous closing price. Meta sideways, banks up. So it's very neutral right now, to be honest. There's not a lot of predictability here. I mean, it's bearish for sure since the open. And so my bullish, guess was wrong. But like I told you guys, there's just so much variance, you never know. I would say looks matter everywhere. Almost. Except for even getting a job. Alright, so there's the breakdown. I mean, it's not the only thing that matters, but it's certainly a factor in everything. All right, we're gonna look for the 325 bounce level. Actually, no, I don't know if I'm gonna buy the low of the day. Oh, we're talking about cars. I mean if you're driving Uber or Lyft, looks of your car obviously matter, right? If a Lambo pulls up to drive me to a place, I'm gonna give them a good review because I want to ride in a Lambo. If a broken down 30-year-old, Honda Accord with donuts on the tires pulls up, I might be a little bit more sketched out. That's normal. That's how it goes. Again, I'm waiting to trade. I just don't see anything I like right here. We're down, but we're kind of choppy down, if that makes sense. Like, it's not like big moves down. It's kind of like move, sideways, sideways, chop, 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 but down, up, kind of unpredictable. Nvidia's bouncing a little bit, though. Google is too. Oh, we got manufacturing PMI news. I forgot. We'll cover it. We got new home sales at 10. Bank of America still pushing up though. I like GTRs. Yeah, they rejected his player for saying he had a not pretty girlfriend, which means no confidence. All right, guys, we got a minute left until manufacturing PMI. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, less than a minute. Nasdaq starting to rebound ahead of this, though. We got manufacturing and service PMI for July at 9:45. It's expected at 53 for services, 52.7 for manufacturing. All right, here we go. About 10 seconds to see what they're showing. All right, here's the data release right now. Okay, manufacturing PMI showed weaker than expected, 49.5. Weaker than expected. Services showed stronger than expected at 55.2. Weaker manufacturing, but stronger services than expected. Much weaker manufacturing, though, but decently stronger services. So kind of flat here. Services was stronger. Manufacturing was weaker. Manufacturing showed 49.5 versus 52.7. Weaker than expected. Services showed 55.2 versus 53 expected. Stronger than expected. With this services report, though, the market's actually pushing up a little bit. Look at this. Some would argue services is more important than manufacturing, especially in terms of the United States. But yeah, we are getting a stronger reaction here initially, but it's kind of mixed data. Again, weaker manufacturing, but stronger services than expected is what we got here. I'll put this data up on screen. Services 55.2. Global composite was 54.6, which is, 52.9 last time, so better. We are seeing a positive reaction from this, though. All right, we're going to put the manufacturing numbers up on the bottom here too. All right, so we put the data on the bottom of the screen. Nasdaq's starting to surge up though. Weird because Nvidia's starting to break down, but we see Meta rise, Apple rise, Google come back up a little bit, Tesla come back up a little bit. So all right, so we're starting to test these highs up here now. An interesting spot right now, obviously, is the lifetime highs in the Nasdaq. You can see how far away we are. So this light blue line up here is the all-time highs. Right? So this level here is the all-time highs in the Nasdaq. We are now right here, and we tested this level earlier this morning. So my bias is bullish. This is why I was bullish at the opening bell, and we're still in the opening bell period, 20 minutes into the open. But my bias is bullish, but I also recognize we go either way. I'm gonna buy this, I guess. I might buy more. I mean, we're up 600 on the day right now. So I'm going to try to kind of scale into a larger position. I might be wrong, though. Don't copy me, of course. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose. Come on, bring it up. Again, since this is a challenge account and I'm trying to build up some more, I'll take like a swing here. But only because we have a cushion. We're going to liquidate half of it just to protect. Still green on the day, but try to fix it, average in. We do have that 200 exponential level, so let's add to this. BP reportedly intends to exit 36 billion Australian green. There we go. Try to hold the rest break even. We'll get out there. We'll switch accounts. So we're basically flat. I mean, actually, yeah, we're great on the day. Let's switch it to something else now. Yeah, we got new home sales data. Apple just went red on the day, though. That's a problem. Amazon? Where's Amazon at? Tesla's actually starting to come back, though, but microchips are starting to fall. Yeah, we got 7 minutes until existing home sales, chat. I don't know how much they're going to move markets, though. We'll see. I kind of want to buy this dip. I'll wait. Meta's pushing up, though. Apple's just went red on the day or green on the day for a second. Let's see if it holds. Tesla's climbing back up, though. All right, so S&P chief economist Williamson says the flash PMI data indicated that the U.S. economy grew at a sharply increased rate at the start of the third quarter, consistent with the economy expanding at a 2.3% annualized GDP. That represents a marked improvement on the 1.3 rate signaled by the survey for the second quarter. So... kind of choppy, though, to start the day. A lot of this is driven by Google pulling back some. What's causing the market to fall like this? Let me see. Any news? Or we're just breaking down. It's mostly driven by Apple, Google, and Nvidia's pullback. The manufacturing data was okay. Services data was strong too. I mean, the manufacturing data wasn't good. It was lower, but it wasn't like... It was mostly like a break-even manufacturing. Like above 50 is expanding, below 50 is contracting. The manufacturing data showed what? Let me see. 49.5, so mostly break-even. Slight contraction. But the services sector grew stronger than expected as well. So we're kind of mixed there, honestly. What I really like to see is my two levels holding here. We got this level holding and this level respecting. Doesn't mean it's going to keep holding, but if we can make a pit stop at my levels, that's good enough. Banks are still growing. Bank of America up big. We also have the 200 exponential right here. 3.5 minutes, chat. All right. I mean, we got 3 minutes until new home sales data. I don't know how big the new home sales data is going to be. Yeah, we're big range but sideways. All right, Bank of America still pushing. I don't think it's necessarily easy to make money right now in the market. Nvidia now coming back down again. I'm not really. We got a cup and handle looking pattern here. If new home sales data wasn't about to drop in a minute, I might short this, but. All right, guys, we got about 50 seconds left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up. We got new home sales data dropping 45 minutes or 45 seconds. 35 seconds now, really. Yeah, I mean, Amazon's looking up big today. That's driving the market bullishness. But again, I'm not really trading. We're too sideways. We went back and forth, and now I'm kind of, you know. All right, we got 15 seconds. Yeah, new home sales data is expected at 650. Last time was 623. Drops in 5 seconds. All right, here we go. And there's the report. 627, lower than expected new home sale data. 627, lower than expected versus 650 expected. 627 versus 650 for new home sales data. Yeah, again. Again, 627K versus 650K expected. Previous of 623. It's a little bit higher than last time, but weaker than expected. Now we're falling down some. Again, 627 versus 650. EU antitrust regulators are investigating whether KKR provided incorrect or misleading information in the $26 billion Telecom Italia fixed line network deal. Very choppy, very boring day, though. It's past 10, guys. I'm going to cut out of here. Tomorrow we got durable goods. Next week's freaking ridiculously crazy in terms of stuff coming out next week. But still, we'll see what happens. Again, give me a follow at Beginner Trades if you haven't already. We post all this breaking news live. We are less than 30 followers away from 4,000. That's a milestone level for me. At Beginner Trades, give me a follow. Check out Top Step if you want to help support the channel. If you want to day trade but not risk too much money, try Top Step. No PDT rule, $50 a month to get started. If you want a larger account, you can try the 100 or 150 challenge. You pass it, 50K, 100K, 150K funded account, 90% split, similar to funding your own account. If you fail, you're out $50, $100. It's not the end of the world. Beautiful way to learn when most day traders lose money. If you're good enough, you can get started for cheap and make some money. You can put a I'll put the link up one more time. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. Sometimes I trade and lose off stream. You might not see it. I don't guarantee anything. Sometimes it's easier to trade off stream too because less critical, if that makes sense. But I try to, we talk about markets really. We cover markets. We trade on stream. If you want to check it out, here's the link. They're an affiliate or sponsor of mine. I get paid by them. I'm biased. There's the link in chat. Hey, I love you all. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow bright and early. Remember, next week's kind of crazy. Y'all be safe.